And then I just think taking out a race driver during the race is just, it's crazy.
Oh, here he comes.
Target down. Next up, Robert Knox.
So Hitman 2016, first and foremost, was the game that kind of defined what everything would become. So we had, a lot of questions coming in. Kind of thought about two levels. So I'll start with Sapienza, because I think for many people, including myself, it's where we found home. It does many things that I really, really like. First of all, it's bright, it's kind of hopeful, it feels like tourism at the same time as being in a Hitman game. And we so wanted to go into globetrotting and, traveling the world. And then I love Silvio Caruso. I mean, because he mixes like a severe amount of satire. He's doing a DNA-specific virus that will actually take targets across the world, which is peculiar when you think about No Time to Die, where you go like, hey, that's an interesting plot.
Caruso is now reportedly working on a far more disturbing project. A DNA-specific virus able to infect anyone, anywhere in the world.
On the surface level, it's a very classic bi-thriller plot, but then we just dig into his past with his mom and, you can really tamper with him. For me, that moment when you become Dr. Lafayette, and then obviously you get to strangle him with a pillow while he's like spilling the beans, right?
Mother died last year.
It's something that you couldn't have seen in any Hitman game before. We just took it one step further, if you will. And so a lot of things came together in that level and in that mission that I think it was one of the high watermarks of the first game. I really like that, really, truly.
Welcome to Paris, 47. The show is just about to start.
But a big shout out to Paris, I just want to say, because that was like the very first level we created. We said, what's the most Hitman level we can make? And how do we carry all the DNA into one level? And I will just say, there were many things that were impossible in that level. The scale was impossible, the amount of NPCs. Walking the catwalk was like a wild idea. And then eventually it worked out, right? And I don't know if you guys tried it, but when you tried it in VR, it's bonkers, right? Like you're actually on a fashion catwalk. And I think that taught us we have the ability to transport you literally to places on the globe-trotting, but also to moments. So it's a mix of going places you might not be able to go, either because they're crazy exclusive or dangerous or whatever, but then also you take part in crazy moments, like you're this intimate psychiatrist, but you're also a fashion show model. Like we felt we broadened a lot of what Hitman could be. Miami is really interesting to me. I think to me, it's still to this day wild to imagine. Like, why don't we do a street race? And it's kind of interesting maybe for people to know about. So if you think about Paris, so Paris is the first benchmark level we built, and we have this complex auction going on with a lot of stuff you can tamper with. And we also have a crowd, there's a fashion show. And this was basically saying, hey, can we do something even more crazy? In some ways, you can equate the auction to the race. And obviously the crowd is just wild. It's almost an impossible sense of place. So not only a street race, but you have like an expo building, and then you have a robot laboratory, right? While you have like all that crazy, like the pit garages and all that stuff, it's like it's so many places in once. And sometimes when you have a playthrough in that level, you go like did I travel the world in just one level, right? And I also, again, I really love that you go warm places as well, because it's so easy in Hitman, like to go dark and go serious and all that stuff. And we do that sometimes, and it's super cool. And then I just think taking out a race driver during the race is just, it's crazy.
Oh, here he comes.
Target down. Next up, Robert Knox.
And again, I think you can feel throughout the trilogy that we are starting to play with the formula. Like, it was very hard in the first game to just start stretching our legs and figure out what we can do, and then we do something obscene like this, which is technically fairly hard to accomplish. And what happens when we put you on a timer? Is that okay? Like, those were the questions back then. And I think it turns out that it works really well. We talked about the most ridiculous thing. It came out of nowhere. Like, I think the flamingo outfit is still the most beloved outfit in IO. I think if we did a vote, we didn't do it, but I think if we did, the flamingo would be number one. So that's clearly one of my favorite disguises of the entire trilogy, to be honest.
The Isle of Scale, headquarters of the Ark Society.
Isle of Scale does something that we never imagined doing. It puts the main villain of the entire game into a level. You can't fuck up too much, and you get to get close to him. When we played it, it felt extremely special. I think when you play it, you go like, oh yeah, that's cool. But for us, you have to imagine that. But sometimes we have to like wrangle our brains and find stuff we're not usually doing. So getting the Constant to walk around and have him actually be part of a level and have his loop, that was crazy. It was fairly early with Berlin that I think we felt that there was something special. I think it's insane. Like now we're in the darker side again, but it does some things that I think just are like almost the pinnacle of what we were able to achieve back then. If you think about it, it's the way it just starts at the tank stop and it's just oozing in atmosphere, like right from the get-go. And I think that just never really stops in that level. It just relentlessly just hits the tone of the place. The first time you go down to the club dance floor, when you earn the right, you've gone through all the disguise hoops or whatever, and you're in there. Okay, I'm at a rave. It's almost like, I don't know, you forget that you're like, oh, okay, I also have a mission or whatever. Like, I'm like, no, I'm in a nightclub. And I think some of the footage we get from VR, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's hilarious. Like, people are literally, in the headset. Like, it's almost like a VR club. When we best, it's like, it's not only globetrotting, but it's also literally feel like you get to go to a place you might not have access to otherwise, right? And I think it level does it in spades. Why will I remember the level? And in this one, it was Hunter and Hunted, and just again playing with the formula. And I think it turned out, extremely good, like better than imagined at first. That we just blow open the whole idea about you're here and you have a target. I love the earpiece and just hearing how confidence becomes panic as they figure out who's the real apex predator.
Jesus, pull yourselves together. He is only one guy.
And you get this, I think you get a very open-ended like a level where you can actually do a lot of things. It kind of widens the package, if you will. And I also think it's inspired some of the stuff we were then going to do in Freelancer, because it kind of opens up this idea of like, what if many or anyone, quote unquote, could be a target, right? So I think it does some really interesting stuff. And then of course I have to mention, since it's Hitman 3, like putting Diana in the level is like, for a lot of us, it was fairly emotional. If you like the lore, if you like the games, the story around Diana, there's also some nods to, blood money and some of the stuff that goes on there. I think it's wonderful. And I think you feel like some of the mission stories around Diana, right? You feel, at least I felt more invested in those maybe than in some of the others. And I love the tango. All of that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't taken those jumps like, yeah, we can do a fashion show, you can be in it. Okay, we can put, the Constant in the level. And so eventually it became like, yeah, why don't we put Diana in the level and why don't we, have a tango with her and 47. And I think that is like one of the peak moments of the trilogy, to be honest.
One last tango, 47.
I don't know if I have any specific location for a new Hitman. Like the one that always pops up is Copenhagen, because we never really traveled to our own city. What is the World of Assassination going to be in a year, 2 years from now? It's super interesting to think about. We announced co-op mode. Without spoiling too much, I can tell you it's quite remarkable to be not one but two agents in the same sandbox. That's probably more where my mind goes these days.